Testing. Today's episode of RC Real Talk with coffee. We're going to cover something in this episode of RC Real Talk about I notice a lot of talk controversy on some RC channels. I follow John's Mini Mechanics. Sometimes I watch Crawler Canyon, and he goes into a big tirade about how much he hates RTR'S. And John's Mini Mechanics was kind of covering a little bit of it. So I had that written down in the idea book to come up with, Kits versus RTR topic. So that's what we're going to cover today. So just no BS, right? Going into it. I don't understand where I think the people that are in the hobby for a long time get lost. I've been into the hobby since I've been 12. So just diving right in, everybody has a different opinion. It's obviously okay to have a difference of opinion. So I noticed a big Mind's IRC kind of covered the whole buying something and then blowing like $200 or $300 in upgrades in his last video. Thanks for giving me a shout out in the video there, RC brother. Appreciate it. So, diving right into the topic of the RTR versus Kit, I don't know why there has to be so much hate for one or the other. That's my opinion. I build a few kits. Primarily when I get something I could care less, RTR kit, in the long run for me, some of your kits obviously comes with, little bit of doodads upgrades here and there. Some kits just depends on what you're talking about. So my whole thing is where I think people that's been in the hobby for a long time, they forget where they came from in the beginning. And what I mean about that is you have the kit versus the RTR. So you go in a hobby shop. Let's say your, buddy has a whatever TRX4, a axial base camp, a whatever and you're out and you're running. You're like, oh man, this is fun. So you've never really just been into the hobby. You're kind of just like, well, I'm thinking about this. It's a lot of money to get started. Everybody says the price. The kits, overinflated price for the electronics, blah, 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 blah. Well, here's my thing. You got to kind of look at it from both sides. You can't just look at it from where you're coming from, where, well, I've got tools, I've got this. Yeah, for somebody that's, been into the game for a while, you're probably already going to have the tools. You might already have the grease. You might already have some paint. You're not intimidated by going out. The kit's okay. Most kits don't come with, painted bodies. You don't mind doing the paint work on it. I think a lot of people forget, and they use excuses. Well, you're going to have to tear the RTR apart and make sure there's grease and blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. If you're buying like an upper echelon brand, whether it be Traxxas or Vanquish or even Red Cats came a long way now. Every single rig I've tore into that's been RTR's pretty much had grease in all the differentials and everything. So, and once again, diving into somebody that's, new to the hobby, 95% chance they're not even going to think about breaking into those differentials or the transmission and making sure there's grease in them. So once again, in my opinion, that point of the aspect of it is kind of mute. That's just where I'm coming from. So, there's places in the hobby for both. Kit, I look at kits as being, it's my opinion, I think it's more, more of an advanced section for people that's been in the hobby for a while. I just don't think it's, in my opinion, cost effective for, say, Joe Blow coming into the hobby shop that was down at Joe Junior Blow's house, and you were playing around with his, TRX4 or whatever it be, Vanquish, whatever, VS4 or whatever, and you just wanted, well, I don't know if I'm going to like this, so I want to go in the hobby shop. That dude's not going to want to buy a kit and sit and paint. And then, first off, you go into that hobby shop. If you're buying a kit, the hobby shop's going to say, "Hey, man, do you have a battery and chargers?" No. Well, what's that? 150, $200. Hey, man, do you have tools? No. Well, what's that? Another for good tools to assemble an entire kit. You're probably going to need shock shaft pliers. You're going to need shock oil. You're going to need paint. You're going to need, they're going to recommend, oh, well, you need a work stand, so you're leaving out of there. A lot of people don't realize you're leaving out of there, and your kit that was $399, or $400, tax whatever over $400, versus that's, yeah, 150, maybe $200 cheaper than a kit. You're buying $50, $60 in paint. You're buying, $30, $40 in shock oils. You're buying way tool prices are, because they're going to recommend you buy MIP tools, because everybody's stuck on this has to be MIP tools to work on anything. So they're gonna push the upper echelon of the tools, especially if you're a hobby shop, because that's what they're about, it's making money. Because these people that are new aren't gonna think about, uh, you know, any of this aspects of the hobby, and that's just facts. So when you say that, RTR kits are, overpriced, compared to buying a kit, maybe for you that has everything already that you're going to need in house. That's why I put, kits to me have always been more of a, I'm going to be doing this and that to it, and I want to put my own electronics in it, and you think you're too far above running the stock electronic stuff. That being said, I've run with a lot of guys, and I'll have, everybody goes hobby wing. They want to buy, 2-in-1 pros and all this stuff. But let's be honest, for the basic guy going out there, just going out and having fun and trailing, a brush system with most of them come with some kind of variation of a 1060 ESC in it. Uh, or some kind of, the Traxxas has their whatever. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the Traxxas electronics. I'm not hating on them. They get you started. Uh, but they're not just going to die on you the first run you go out, unless you're doing something just pathetically, absolutely astronomically ridiculous. If you're just going out and trailing those trail trucks and stuff like that, they're going to hold up with you for a pretty good bit. I've never had a single issue with any of my Traxxas stuff, or any of even my RC full drive waterproof stuff. Any of my Vanquish waterproof stuff have been fine. My Axial waterproof stuff have been fine that I've ran. Uh, I've never here recently. I've not had any kind of So if you're going out and you're running these things in the water, worst case scenarios, you might fry something. Hey, here's the thing I think everybody overlooks. It's aftermarket parts for a reason. That's just my opinion. I watched a couple of those other videos, and I don't Crawler Canyon. I like watching his comparison and his tire stuff and all that and everything, and it's great what he does for the hobby. But he goes on these big tirades about RTR stuff, and I think he forgets the aspect of the hobby that not everybody has at their disposal, the artillery in their, to of knowledge and tools, and just in general. Everybody I think that's been in the hobby for a while kind of forgets about that side of it. That's just my opinion. I try to be balanced across the board and look at things, so just to be hating on, a certain product, personally myself, I would hate to see manufacturers just, go out there. You know how intimidating that would be, walking into the hobby shop for somebody, and then you're relying on that hobby shop to give you the 100% truth information out there. So you just can't do that. So manufacturers offering RTRs, and it's my opinion. I think it'd be stupid not to have RTRs. That's why we have RTRs and kits. And really, it's a little better to spend an extra $150 on top of the price of a kit to buy the RTR. You're much better taking something apart and seeing where that part came from to begin with, than just, in my opinion, reading a manual and putting that thing together. Personally, myself, if I walk into a hobby shop and I drop, $500-600, I don't want to go home and tear into that thing and work on it for, like, guys that work all the time. Say you buy, you have to buy a kit and you buy all the stuff. It's finding time if you work for a living, putting it together, especially if you buy it for like one of your kids. You're not going to want to spend like a month wrenching on that thing, putting the kit together. For guys that actually have to work every day in life, you're not going to have the time to dedicate to work on that kit. And then your kid's stuck waiting on that, kit together for a month before he gets to go out and run it. And no matter what, how good you are, if you put a kit together, you're always going to have to make changes to it. That's just facts. I know I've put them together. Nothing ever is good the first trip out. That's why I always test and tune stuff. So when I do go out with friends, my shit's ready to go. So that's just where I come from on it. I don't want to make this video real long. It's just something I've been thinking about doing. I know everybody gets in an uproar over the whole kit and RTR stuff. So just keep that in mind for anybody that watches this video. Yeah, we might disagree. It's okay. That's life. People disagree on stuff. But I watched that video from John's Mini Mechanics, and I was thinking, I don't know. I just don't agree, man. You know, I know you're knocking, let's say, 150, even if you're knocking $200 off the price of those buying the kit. You're going to go in the hole way more than that, especially with the way they push these big high powered servos, especially in hobby shops. They're going to want you to buy like high dollar Savox. They're going to want you to buy, a Hobby Wing 2-in-1. Of course, they're going to recommend a Pro System. Right there's $150 right off the whack. I think they're actually like closer to 170 in the hobby shop for the 2-in-1 Pro for me. Online's always cheaper, but if you're going into the hobby shop, and you're buying that stuff, so your kit turns into $700-800, like that. So you're putting versus a taking it out of the box, looking at it, going out and enjoying it. Even like I don't know if Red Cat and stuff offers batteries still in their kit, or I mean in their RTRs. I don't know because I primarily just buy used stuff and go through it now, because of the price increase of everything. So, but I think right off the bat, you know what I mean? If you're looking to buy, I think Red Cat still offers batteries and chargers. May not be the best, but if you're just new to the hobby and it gets you broke in gently, instead of just throwing you in the fighting ring with a UFC champion and 200 pounds underweight class, and you're getting the hell knocked out of you trying to put this kit together. I actually know because I've had friends buy kits, and instead of being RTRs and get intimidated and be like, the hell with this hobby, and get a hold of me, and I put their stuff together for them and help them out. But I don't think pushing the kits over an RTR, just my opinion, is better. So I just wanted to kind of put this, this is our RC Real Talk video. So, and that's what we do on RC Real Talk. So myself, I just feel as people, a lot of the bigger channels and stuff that, I see shit on the RTRs and cry and bitch and whine about it. You gotta kind of slow your roll a little bit and remember, well, did you have all that knowledge when you first started in the hobby? I mean, maybe not everybody's a genius like some, but that's just my opinion. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be people that would agree with that. I don't understand where we got where, you got to be careful when you're just blatantly shitting all over, because people look up to what, especially these bigger channels, what they say. That's just my opinion. They take stuff at face value. Somebody might watch those videos and like, oh man, my favorite YouTuber channel, RC channel, he says RTRs are absolute trash. So they go in and they buy that kit, man. I'd be pretty pissed off. That's just my opinion. So, that's why, I mean, because a lot of people just watch certain, these big channels, and they take at face value what they say. So I wish some of the channels would be a little more careful with what they do, because, like, I mean, a lot of people I know ride on every word of some of these bigger channels, and it's sad, really, because you got to think for yourself, and slow your roll down a little bit. Even being in this hobby for a long time, as much as I have, and build as much stuff as I've put, and I'm no expert. Uh, no matter how much knowledge I ever gained or anything like that, I would never consider myself, as some of these guys consider themselves experts. And what they say is written on stone tablets to be put in the history books. So just keep that in mind, everybody that's out there. If you watch this video, 100% do the research and watch as much content as you can before going out and making a purchase. A lot of people don't have that, to even think about, though. They're just going to walk into that hobby shop. They got $400 or $500, man, and oh well, this guy I watch on YouTube, he says that the kits are the 100% way to go, and then, oh my gosh, well, I'm gonna have to put the rest of this on my credit card, so there goes another $300 or $400 for my electronics. Now you have the stress of sitting at a table for hours and hours and hours on end, and then next thing you know, you got a guy saying, "Oh man, this hobby ain't for me. This is ridiculous, and his crap's up for sale marketplace for like no money, and he lost all that." I do see it, because I do a lot of research. I spend a lot of time just doing research in my spare time that I do kind of squeeze in. So that's my take on everything. I don't think RTRs are bad. I don't think kits are bad, but I think some people pushing those kits over RTRs, man, you're not looking at the big picture of everything in the hobby world. It's that's just my take on it. You can take it or you can leave it.
All right. Who wants some? Who's next? Huh? How about it? Who wants some?
You can comment what you want down in the section below. I don't figure many people will comment. I get my usual, my homies that follow. I just think I wish people would kind of take it, what it is, and because I watch a lot of like RC content on YouTube. I prefer YouTube over the Facebook drama class. So and these guys that have been in the hobby for a long time, man, y'all forgot where you came from. That's my opinion. Not everybody starts with, a knowledge of being able to throw a kit together overnight. You know what I'm saying? It's not how it works. So try to remember for those guys, if any. I know most of you probably don't watch my crappy channel, and either way, but that's why I want to put this out there for anybody that does watch it. Keep in mind, when you're watching those dudes that have all those followers and everything, just because they're telling you doesn't mean they're 100% right. Think about it, slow your roll. Actually think about the purchase before you go in that hobby shop and you're dropping bank, because this hobby isn't cheap. And really don't just take it at face value that they're right 100% of the time. Same way with me. But by all means, for us guys that have been doing it for a long time, kits, obviously, I don't even buy kits. I look around online, man, and I find the best prices, and I build my stuff piece by piece. Because to be honest with you, you can save money building something piece by piece and buying it piece by piece, and you can't even buy a kit. For the guys that's been in it for a long time, I think probably a lot of you guys would probably agree with that. Picking and choosing and building it how exactly you want. That it's not even necessarily the best case buying a kit either of that round. I sat down and figured out a truck that I wanted to build a while back, and a kit to buy it was going to cost me around over $400, and building it piece by piece, ordering a piece from here and piece from there from different sellers online. I'd been able to put that kit together, that same truck together, for like $300, and it was going to cost me well over $400. So you just got to keep that in mind, guys, when you're doing all this hobby. And I want to put that out there for the RC, YouTube, community. Be careful what you're doing out there, guys, because not everybody is got all that knowledge that you have up in here, and they're taking at what you're saying at face value, and that can hurt the hobby, I think, in the long run. So from the RC Dungeon, I just kind of wanted to put that out there. I watched a couple of those videos, and I'm like, man, I don't know. just be careful what you're putting out there, guys, in the RC community. So from the RC Dungeon, as always, peace and love and happiness.